So as you all know, and as was mentioned this morning during the opening, Connect4Climate hosted the global video competition, the Film4Climate global video competition, in partnership with the UN, with a bunch of private sector organizations and a number of NGOs. We also had over 70 collaborating partners who helped publicize the competition. We launched in June, closed for submissions in September. In that time, we got over 860 videos from 155 countries, which really represented the global youth call for climate action and presented the climate solutions. We had a special category focusing on carbon pricing, and Kaia is the winner of the short film for carbon pricing, To Put a Price on Carbon. Congratulations again. So, Kaia, won't you give us a little bit of a background on why you made that film, why you chose to discuss carbon pricing as a topic, and how you think young people feel about carbon pricing?
Yeah, well, I set out last year to make a web series that was aimed to map out the ecology of climate solutions. So I was going around, it was a great excuse to talk to really exciting people with brilliant ideas and find out what they were working on. And the more I talked to people, I talked to scientists and I talked to activists and university professors and policymakers. And again, I kept hearing that they were telling me what they were working on, but then they would say, but if we put a price on carbon, that would help what I'm doing a lot. And it kind of came up again and again. And so I started focusing on that as we were talking about it earlier, that it's one of the tools in the toolbox, but I really feel that it's one of those tools in the toolbox that accelerates all of the other solutions. So it kind of enhances everyone else's tools. It's not just one of a set. It kind of elevates everyone else's solutions. So I focused on that, and I tried to kind of make a film that I feel like it's a very logical, rational, kind of elegant solution when you tell it in the right way. And so I wanted to make a short film that aimed to kind of get people in and get people to understand how simple it really is, and get young people particularly excited about it. I think that, as we've seen in the campaign recently, I think young people are very economically savvy. And I think that this is kind of inherently an economic justice issue, in that it's correcting this problem that we have in our capitalist society. And I think that it speaks to young people, kind of resonates with them quite well.
Absolutely. So exactly. So we need to put a price on carbon, and it's really to transition our economic system. So for too long, we've been basically putting out carbon pollution in the form of carbon dioxide, methane, some of the other short-lived greenhouse gases such as HCFCs. And those are all contributing to the greenhouse gas effect, which is causing global warming. And in a way, we've been using our atmosphere as a depository of our emissions without actually factoring the cost of that in. Right. So putting a price on carbon is really about accounting for that carbon pollution, understanding the costs of climate change as we will perceive them and as we know them, and integrating that price into the products that are producing greenhouse gases. Now, here at the World Bank, we very much support and really advocate for people to put a price on carbon, to change the economics of our current system and allow for the greater uptake of low carbon solutions, as well as removing fossil fuel subsidies to make sure that the economics is in line with what is rationally applicable. So as you're making the film, and you made the film at COP21 when there was a lot of discussion around carbon pricing and how that could help enhance other policies around climate change, what was your perception from some of the people that you're interviewing and some of the young people that were part of your film? Was this generally an accepted term, or does it still need to be understood a lot more?
I think it's a mix. I was surprised. I came to the spring meetings last year, and I was surprised at the high levels of, how much it was being talked about, and at very high levels. And there were a lot of young people that I was meeting that were volunteering for groups like Citizens Climate Lobby, which I'm a part of as well, and we lobby Congress every year to put a price on carbon. So in the climate world, as I like to call it, because I'm kind of in between the climate world and the film world now, but in the climate world, I felt like everyone was talking about it, and then outside the climate world, no one was talking about it. So like none of my friends knew what it was, and you say carbon pricing, and people's eyes kind of glaze over. So I was trying to get beyond that, and I think as well it has, inherent controversy in it because carbon tax is often used, and tax is a very controversial word in America particularly. So I think it's not very well understood, and I think this idea, what you're talking about, is internalizing those costs that already exist. It's not that we're putting a new price. It's not that we're like saying, oh, we should start putting a price on it now. It has a price already. It has a cost. We just need to put it in the right place so that people can see it clearer. And I think that is still not always well communicated, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly, because you can actually shift the taxing dynamics. You could put more of a carbon tax in place and remove, personal income tax or other taxes that would, affect a person's well-being. So at the World Bank, the Carbon Pricing Leadership Coalition is really our flagship program on this. And they were the ones really interested in finding these films that helped explain carbon pricing. And after the session, we're actually going to hear from Tom Kerr, who's the head of the Carbon Pricing Leadership Coalition, to give you more details about carbon pricing. And just to let you know that, the World Bank got really excited about the fact that somebody actually put carbon pricing into such simple terms. And we're really, looking forward to using your product and helping share and spread that message, and also align it with a lot of our partners' messages. So this evening, we're going to be having a special screening of Before the Flood, and carbon pricing comes through very strongly as one of the solutions. Yeah. And then tomorrow evening, we're going to show the carbon pricing episode of the Years of Living Dangerously series, who are pushing the campaign to put a price on it, which I think they've borrowed the term from Beyonce, but it's really to get the carbon price out there.
Yeah.
So as more and more mainstream media and more film and creative industry products come out pushing this message, do you think there's a greater uptake of it? And how do you want to get your message further out?
Well, yeah, I'm really excited about seeing the new Years of Living Dangerously episodes. There's 2 episodes kind of about carbon pricing. Yeah. There's one this week as well. And really thankful for the Carbon Pricing Leadership Coalition to award us this, kind of choose our film for this. And I think that this film, it's a very kind of logical, breaking it down into simple, kind of putting things on Post-its and kind of trying to just break it down in a really simple way. And I think now that we've kind of tried that avenue, I'm really interested in communicating carbon pricing in more of an emotional way rather than a kind of brainy way. Because I feel like it's becoming more clear to me that there's a large portion of our population that doesn't respond very well to facts and kind of logical, rational processes like that, and they respond very much to kind of feelings and like gut feelings. And I actually think that carbon pricing can speak to that very well, because I think it is so elegant and simple, and if you can, communicate it in the right way to different groups of people, then I think we could hit that critical mass of support to push it through. Because it shouldn't be a partisan issue. It is right now, but it really shouldn't be. It's a very free market solution, which is what we tell Republican members of Congress when we go in and talk to them about it. So I'm hoping that it can kind of cross party lines and get enough support from the electorate that we can push it through in this country soon. That's my hope. Absolutely, and there is very much a global momentum around pricing carbon. So I think we're going to watch Kaia Rose and Eric Mann's film,
And then I'll open it up to the audience to throw some questions at you, Kaia. So if we could play the film, that would be great. Thank you, Kaia, and congratulations again. So, I mean, my quick takeaway is that we have to correct the global economy. And the way to do it is put a price on carbon. Right?
So it sums it up.
And what made it so intriguing is the way you presented the issue. You made it personal by putting yourself in there. You made it humorous, and you also, put the issues down on Post-its, which could kind of compartmentalize and make it easily digestible.
I feel like Post-its are never scary, so if you can put it on a Post-it, then.
So I'd like to open it up for some questions. Do I have some questions in the audience? I see Francis is running to the front. Any questions on for Kaia, the way she made a film, or even on the carbon pricing issue?
Yeah, hi. My name is Brian. I'm a big proponent of carbon pricing. I think it's a really fascinating concept. So I was really interested this year during this election cycle. I know there was a carbon tax on the ballot in Washington State, and it didn't pass. And I was interested in the fact that a lot of environmentalists also didn't support it, and I think the reason for that was that it was a revenue-neutral carbon tax, and a lot of people wanted the revenue to go towards creating a greener society. So I was just wondering if you have any thoughts on how to build consensus around carbon taxing or cap and trade legislation, and how you can get one to pass in a state legislature or through Congress.
No, I think it's I think you're on point there, and yeah, it's interesting because I do volunteer with Citizens Climate Lobby, which is a proponent of a revenue-neutral carbon fee and dividend plan, and I personally feel like any type of carbon pricing is a step in the right direction. So I would personally urge environmental groups to support anything moving in that direction is a good thing, and then we can start to kind of make it the best possible solution after it's on its way, after it has that momentum. So I was sad to see it not pass, but that is the thing. Someone in there says as well that it's no one size fits all. It's one of the great things about carbon pricing is that every country and even states can kind of create their own version of it that works for them. But it is also one of the tricky things is that once you start to get into the nuts and bolts of it, there's so many different ways to do it that you find a lot of disagreement. And it's another thing about kind of communicating. It's how do you communicate that in a way that helps people kind of get on the same page and realize that in terms of big picture, they probably all want the same thing. And if we can start moving in that direction, then maybe we can work on some of those details after we start to get things in place.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're running a bit short on time, but one more question from the audience right here.
Hi, my name is Thabiso. I'm from Washington Lee University School of Law. My question for you is, what is your insight about a cross-border issue or a jurisdictional problem that might arise in the process of taxing or pricing carbon?
Going across borders? Is it?
Yes, because definitely this is going to involve a multinational, different countries. So there is a cross-border issue, and then comes the issue of jurisdiction. There is territorial sovereignty and the space or air sovereignty. So how do you just tackle this problem in your equation?
Well, again, I think it's kind of there's not one size that fits all. So there's a lot of different proposals out there, even proposals that have gone up, for our Congress. And there's border ways of dealing with that cross-border issue. I'm not an expert on it by any means. My main interest is kind of how do you communicate kind of the essence of carbon pricing. So that might be a better question for Tom later.
I completely agree. Let's save that one for Tom. We've got one more question in the back, and then we're going to have to move on.
I just want to build off that question and ask how it relates to trade policy, which to me would seem like a potential conflict. just thinking about lowering tariffs and I don't know. I could just see it as a trade conflict. So I'm very interested in the idea. I'd like to see it happen, but I'm worried about investor-state dispute settlement cases or other things. And so I'm wondering if there's policy solutions that you're looking at and looking at that aspect of trade policy.
So again, I think we've got the right person in the room for that. And with that, congratulations again, Kaia. This is Kaia Rowe's amazing film. And congratulations also to Eric.